The Super Bowl has come and gone, so for all of you football fans that are just tuning in, the NBA just had one of the most jam-packed trade deadlines in recent memory. Superstars like James Harden and Jaren Jackson Jr. have found new homes. Jared McCain will take his TikTok talents to Oklahoma City, and the Indiana Pacers are going for it all, despite tanking for the first overall pick. It's safe to say that we've earned this All-Star break, but it's given us plenty to talk about. As the league is on hold to celebrate some of the best players in the game, our expert panel is here to recap the first half of the season and what's to come in the second half. So don't go anywhere, because we're just getting started right here on the Toss-Up. Hello and welcome to the Toss-Up. I'm your host this evening, Jet Garrett. Alongside me, Dylan Beach, Zach Cohn, and the head official himself, Noah Gerke. Guys, how are we feeling this evening? We've got a little bit of NBA basketball to talk about.
Feeling good, Jet. Thanks for having us on, man.
No, absolutely. Beach, I think it's perfect. I want to start with you. As we get into this All-Star break, which I mentioned, I think that we have certainly earned it. The trade deadline was absolutely insane. I feel like I'm still catching my breath. Which team, all in all, do you think is feeling the best as we enter this All-Star break?
I think it's simple. After last night's slate of games, it's got to be the San Antonio Spurs. They played a very depleted Lakers team, but maybe one of the most dominant offensive performances I've ever seen. They had like 45 points in the first quarter, something ridiculous like that. Wemby would take one dribble into the lane and just try to dunk on the Lakers' entire team. I don't know how you couldn't be feeling good with that young core of guys. Even after cutting Sochan today, I think you feel great about your odds going into the All-Star break and the rest of the season.
I mean, I truly, from a basketball standpoint, I've watched basketball my whole life. I played, growing up through high school. I've never in my life seen anything like Victor Wembanyama that we're seeing right now. Wembanyama, his rookie year is come and gone. They have another good rookie over there, Dylan Harper. I'm curious, Zach, which rookie had you had the most fun watching so far this season?
Yeah, you're right. Wemby is unbelievable. He is truly an alien, and hence his nickname. But for me, the rookie that I've enjoyed watching the most this season is fairly simple. It's the number one overall pick, Cooper Flagg. He was the number one overall pick, and he has played absolutely up to par and up to expectations. It's tough to do that. He is borderline into these LeBron James, Cade Cunningham conversations where we talk about the number one pick that has lived up to the expectations and done exactly what he needs to do. I mean, he's averaging 26 and 4. The Mavericks are terrible, and it has nothing to do with him. I mean, he had 49 and 10 against his college teammate, Con Knipple, and they lose by 2. He has played unbelievable this season, and he's made for the moment. When the Mavericks get good and when Kyrie gets healthy and the rest of this team, maybe it's this core, maybe it's the next core, Cooper Flagg is going to be the headline of this Mavericks team for years to come.
I'm glad you mentioned Con Knipple because he has been my favorite rookie to watch. I remember going into the draft, and look, VJ Edgecombe has been phenomenal. I think he's done everything and more there for Philadelphia, but I was really pushing for Knipple to be the number 3 overall pick in the draft this season. Noah, I want to come to you because when you go back to last season and you think about two teams, the Indiana Pacers and the Boston Celtics, I'm going to ask you about. Going into this year, it was really like, okay, let's rebuild a little bit. Maybe we're tanking. Maybe we're trying to get a good draft pick so when Jason Tatum comes back from injury, we're going to be retooled. The Celtics are the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference right now. What have you seen from them? What's working for them? Why are they doing so good when everyone was expecting them to have such a down year?
Joe Mazzulla doesn't lose. It's that plain and simple. He doesn't know how to lose, and neither does this roster. And Jaylen Brown's taken a huge step. Arguably should be an MVP conversation. It's almost 30 points a game on nearly 50% shooting. And it's this core they've built even outside of Jason Tatum, whether it's Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, even Baylor Shireman and Jordan Walsh getting extended minutes. Joe Mazzulla is going to find a way to win basketball games, whether it's chucking a bunch of threes, playing through Jason Tatum, or gutting out and forcing a bunch of turnovers. This Boston Celtics team doesn't know how to lose, and they don't know how to tank. And Jason Tatum's potentially just a few weeks away. I don't know how you can't be feeling great as a Celtics fan.
Especially, I mean, if you can insert a guy like Tatum onto this team right now. I mean, Joe Mazzulla is one of the best, one of my favorite coaches in all of the NBA, and one of my favorite interviews, too. I mean, it's hilarious watching his post-game press conferences. I want to stick with you, Noah, because one of the teams that made a splash at the trade deadline was the Cleveland Cavaliers. They moved Darius Garland, and they bring in James Harden. James Harden has been all over the place, he has been called the problem by a lot of people. Is this where he can finally get it done? Is Cleveland the play? They're 2-0 right now since James Harden has been there. Is this the place that he can finally get it done?
I don't think so. And you mentioned his nickname being the problem, but I don't think Darius Garland was the problem, and that's who they ended up moving on from. I don't think this Cavaliers team is that much better adding James Harden and replacing Darius Garland. And they're in a tough spot right now. They don't have much bench help outside. Well, you have Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. Adding James Harden doesn't necessarily solve the issue they have. They play in the East. It's wide open. You never know what could happen. I've personally never viewed James Harden as a team-first guy, and I think that's going to end up showing through. I don't think he gets it done in Cleveland. Whether it's his fault or not, I just don't think it's the Cavs' year.
Zach, I want to turn to you while we're on the trade deadline here. Darius Garland was one of those players traded away. Which player for you? I think a lot of teams benefited from the trade deadline. Which player for you is going to benefit the most from being traded?
Yeah, I love that you said teams benefited, because I don't know that the player that I'm about to say, the team might not get astronomically better, but this is a wide open opportunity for a young man named Rob Dillingham. He is 21 years old, and he was the 8th overall pick 2 years ago. People forget, and he's a John Calipari Kentucky guard. He's oozing with talent, and he just really didn't get an opportunity to showcase it in Minnesota. Minnesota was a very good team. When they got that pick, that was a trade with San Antonio. They were coming off a Western Conference Finals appearance. This is a wide open opportunity for Rob Dillingham. I mean, you talk about the Bulls. They traded Kobe White, and they have Josh Giddey, who's this playmaking guard. He's a pass-first guy, and I think he always has been like that. But Rob Dillingham is a score-first guy. He's, give me the ball. I want to score. I want to do this. And he hasn't gotten the opportunity to do that through no fault of his own in Minnesota. Minnesota's just a stacked team, and it was a bad opportunity. But I think Chicago's a really good opportunity for him to come in, play a bunch of minutes, and do it. And he showcased it. I mean, 2 games, he's played 22 minutes in each. That's the most minutes he's ever played in an NBA regular season game.
I truly believe that Rob Dillingham is one of the most fun basketball players to watch in the NBA. I truly believe that. I really do hope that he gets a chance to shine in Chicago Beach. I want to talk to you here. The Indiana Pacers, I mentioned them a little bit earlier. It's such a weird situation this season, and it's such an unforeseen situation. But they go and they make a splash. And while making a splash and bringing in Ivica Zubac, they trade away their first round pick this season, the pick that they have been tanking for. Now, if it falls 1 through 4, they get to keep that draft pick. 10 and beyond, as they get to keep it as well. But if it's in 5 and 9, the Los Angeles Clippers get that draft pick. Do you think that they made a mistake doing that? Do you think they're pushing too hard?
I don't think you can say they made a mistake when center is obviously such a issue for the Pacers. And it's obviously something you have to address. The rebounding was their Achilles heel in that playoff run. They couldn't beat guys like Mitchell Robinson just because he could get on the court and get an offensive rebound. I think you can't fault them for pushing the chips in, knowing what they have of Halliburton, even if that pick doesn't fall their way. I think this is still a roster that can contend with a guy like Zubac instead of a Miles Turner, instead of a Micah Potter, instead of a guy like that in the starting lineup. But I do think that caveat that if that pick falls into that 1 to 4 range, this could be the start of a Pacers dynasty. Could you imagine a guy like AJ right next to Tyrese Halliburton, or even if it falls to 4 and you get a guy like Wilson or Boozer alongside Tyrese Halliburton? This could be the start of a dynasty. I love the trade. You just got to hope the lottery luck falls your way. It's something that's never happened for the Pacers. You've never had the first overall pick. You've never had a player drafted first overall on your team. It's a bold gamble for a team who just does not have lottery luck as of late, but I guess we're going to see Jet.
DeAndre Ayton was on the team for about 30 minutes.
For about 30 minutes until the Suns were like, we want to keep Ayton. We can't take Miles Turner, and it worked out for the Pacers in the short run.
We're going to take a quick break here, but do not go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to give you some sneaky teams the rest of the way, who's going to win the MVP, and who's set up to win an NBA championship. Stay tuned right here on The Toss-Up. Welcome back into The Toss-Up. We're going to open it up to the panel here for 3 pretty quick hit questions. With the trade deadline coming and going, we talked about it already a little bit. I'm curious for all 3 of you, has any team emerged, and which team do you think is kind of a sneaky dark horse the rest of the way to make a run in the second half of the season?
Well, when we talk about the trade deadline, the Clippers obviously trading Zubac, but getting Mathurin back, and he's always been a guy I've been high on. And team culture matters. And I think getting rid of a guy like Harden and getting a Darius Garland, getting a Mathurin, I think that's going to raise the Clippers' ceiling. They get younger, and I don't know, Pacers never really let Mathurin go out and try to be that number 1. He could go try to be that in Los Angeles, and I think he has the ability to score with the best of them.
Zach?
Yeah, I'm going to stay in the Western Conference. I want to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're 33-22 right now, and they're 6th in the Western Conference. You talk about the West, and I feel like every year we come to the same conclusion. There's like 1 or 2 teams that are by far and away way up here, and then you have that like 3 to 12 that on any given day or any given week, the things could completely shift. And the Minnesota Timberwolves are in a very unique position. They're 8.5 games out of first in the conference, but they are only a game and a half out of being third place in the West. That is crazy to me. Anthony Edwards playing some of his best basketball, always great. Naz Reid off the bench. I think this is a team that could come out of nowhere. And again, like it doesn't really matter what seed they get because the past few years they've always overachieved in the playoffs.
Noah?
Also a team that's 6th, but this time in the East. How about the Toronto Raptors? No one really thought that this team was able to compete. They drafted Colin Murray-Boyles, who hasn't necessarily been the lottery pick people were expecting. R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Brandon Ingram's still doing it. This is a team that no one really talks about. They're 6th in the East. They've beaten some of the top teams in the conference this year. We've talked about how wide open that conference is to begin with. Toronto's sneaky, and they could sneak up on a playoff team. They shoot the 3 extremely well, and you get hot in the playoff at the right time, you got a good chance to make a run.
And I think in the Eastern Conference as well, I mean, that is such a wide open conference where you don't even have to win the conference to get to the NBA championship. Talking about dark horses and moving away from dark horses, who has been the best player in the league right now? We'll start with you, Noah. Who is set up to win the MVP so far this season through the first half?
Zach and I were both in the toss-up earlier. I think we're both going to double down. So I picked Wemby at the beginning of the year. And as Beach mentioned, he had one of the greatest games that we've watched last night in the offensive category, even just the overall performance. What he has done to this Spurs team to elevate their ceiling, they're 2nd in the West. They're within contention of catching the Oklahoma City Thunder. They look very, very good. And his dynamic offensive and defensive ability is just off the charts. He's putting up tremendous numbers. And in terms of value, he's arguably the most valuable player in the league every night, night in and night out. I've got Victor Wembanyama.
I wouldn't hate that at all. Like I said earlier, he's an unbelievable player. I've never seen anything like it. Zach?
Yeah, Noah is right. We were on the toss-up earlier. We did the NBA episode, and we are both going to double down because I had Cade Cunningham at the beginning of the year, and it was a long shot pick to say the least. And I think he could do it. I think he's absolutely set up. He is the best player on the best team in the Eastern Conference. And I understand everyone wants to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder. Everyone wants to talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Rightfully so. They are fantastic. If you look at the Pistons and you look at the Thunder, it's not an exact comparison. One plays in the West, one plays in the East. They both have 13 losses. Thunder have played 3 more games than us. It's been 3 wins. But the Pistons are on track with what the Thunder have been able to do this year, and that is in large part thanks to their best player, Cade Cunningham, who has taken another massive step. I said at the start of the year, if he does exactly what he did last year, but he cuts down on the turnovers, he's going to be a threat, and that's exactly what he's done this year.
Cade Cunningham is another player that I really don't think gets talked about enough as one of the best players in this league. Dylan?
Yeah, I was also on the toss-up at one point this year, but I was here talking about women's basketball, and as much fun as it'd be to double down and say, Shea Chesky will be your league MVP, that's not the case.
Give her
she should
flowers.
win Big Ten
Give
Player
her
of the Year
flowers.
despite being on this all-right Indiana team. But I'm going to go with the most obvious pick. It's Jokic. We don't see players like him ever, averaging a triple-double at the center position. He's unreal. He's the least athletic guy in the NBA. I think we could get up the court about as fast as he could jet, and we're going to see that at 10 o'clock when we're playing rec basketball tonight. But it's Jokic. I mean, he has got the surrounding around him. He makes everybody who plays with him better. He made Russell Westbrook look great last year, and now Russell Westbrook's on the worst team in the NBA.
I would like to see Nikola Jokic play on a 6-man rotation and play 36 minutes a game because that's what we're getting tonight. That's what we're getting tonight. Well, let's close this out with the most obvious question that we can ask here. And Zach, I'm going to start with you. Who is best set up to win the NBA championship right now?
Yeah, I'm going to double down on Detroit, and I think it's the Pistons. If you look at them, they are 5.5 games ahead of the second-place Knicks right now in the East. They have a large gap. They went 3-1 against the Celtics this year. They are not playing them again. They are 2-0 against the Knicks. They play them next Thursday in New York. That is something that I will absolutely be watching. But they're set up. And if they hold on and the standings hold as they are right now, they will get the 1 seed. They will get home court advantage throughout the playoffs. And the Knicks and the Celtics will have to battle it out, which means the Pistons won't play them before the conference finals if both those teams make it that far, which I think that they will. So you're in the East already, which is a massive leg up over the West, and they are in the position to where they're probably only going to have to play the next best team one time in the playoffs, and that's huge. That's astronomical. They've got a great team. They are young. They are feisty. They are certainly physical, because you can ask Charlotte and Miles Bridges and Moussa Diabate, because they are still reeling from that fight when Isaiah Stewart ran off the bench out of nowhere and decided, let's make this an issue. But I think the Detroit Pistons, are really well positioned to get to the NBA Finals and win it all.
And I think with Detroit, another thing about them is you saw it with the Knicks and the Pacers last year. When you put a good product on the floor, I mean, they will sell that place out, and that will not be a place that teams are going to want to go play. Noah.
Selfishly, I'm going to pick the team that he thought the Pistons were going to beat in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's the Boston Celtics. And I don't think it's this hard to overthink it. They're second or third in the Eastern Conference without a top 7 player in the NBA just waiting to come back on the floor. I get that he's coming off an ACL injury. Those are hard to come back from. You don't want to rush him. Maybe the chance of re-injury. Didn't even talk about the trade for Nikola Vucevic, basically filling the massive hole they had at center in Neemias Queta. This is a team that when you insert Jason Tatum back, they're already playing some elite basketball. Jaylen Brown's playing the best ball of his career. The Boston Celtics are in the wide open East, and as a Celtics fan, I don't think that that's a terrible spot to be right now, adding Jason Tatum back in a couple of weeks. I think they're set up very well, because once you get to the championship, you only have to win 4 of them.
Exactly. Dylan, we'll close it out with you.
Man, I'm going to follow suit and pick my favorite team, the Pacers. I'm just kidding, guys. The Pacers are way out of it. It goes down to 2 teams for me. It's the 2 players, the 2 teams I've mentioned so far, the Spurs, the Nuggets, 2 elite centers, 2 surrounding casts that are – I don't know if you could handpick a better surrounding cast for either one of those players if you tried. They're perfect. When I say my prayers at night, I pray that we get a Western Conference Finals with those 2. The 2 best centers in the land, 2 of the best teams we've ever seen. I think it's the Nuggets or the Spurs taking the finals this year.
Give me one.
Let's go the Nuggets.
I'm going to go with San Antonio Spurs. I think that, again, Wembanyama is phenomenal, and I mean, you guys highlighted how great the Spurs are throughout the show. They really are set up very well to win a championship. Only thing is maybe experience comes and gets them this year. But
that's why I went the Nuggets.
Sure.
You got to pick the playoff experience.
Exactly. Well, that does it for our show this week. There's still so much to talk about with the NBA right now, so be sure to continue the discussion and follow us on Instagram and X at IUSTV Sports. With that, there are only 2 things left to do. First of all, wish the IU Sports Media basketball team good luck tonight in their second game of the season, and toss it up. Find out if we'll catch it, and we'll see you next week. No shout.
I'm ready.